Welcome to the Lennox Select Board meeting Wednesday, June 1st at 6 p.m. in Town Hall. This is our regular meeting. I have just one announcement from the chair. I'd like to thank everyone for this past Memorial Day weekend. The DPW did a great job of making the Lennoxdale Memorial look spectacular. The police and fire departments were on full display in their uniform regalia. They did a great job having all the equipment buffed up and ready for our parades, both in the Dale and here in town. I want to thank Monsignor Bonzani for his words at the Lennoxdale parade, and the Reverend Liz Goodman for her good words up at the Church on the Hill, and Nick Felix, who is the post commander of the Lennox post, and I'm going to get the numbers wrong, but I know Dave can tell me what the numbers are for the post. 12079. Nick Felix did a fantastic job organizing everybody, having a 3-gun salute over at St. Anne's Cemetery and up at the Church on the Hill. It was so great to have a parade after 3 years, or after 2 years of having wave parades, and it was a really special day, and thankfully the weather cooperated as well. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm going to move for reorganization of the board tonight, and I would listen to a recommended motion.
Well, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a recommendation, but first I want to thank you for being the chair for the past year. You're extremely hardworking. Every meeting you're extremely well prepared, and you did a fantastic job as chairman this year, so thank you for that.
Well, I want to thank you guys because you had my back, and I learned a lot from each and every one of you, so thank you for your work as well.
Thank you, Mary Beth.
So with that, I'll make a motion to elect Dave Roach as chair of the Board of Selectmen, and further to elect Mary Beth Mitz as clerk of the Board of Selectmen.
I'll second that.
Okay, great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Here you go, Dave.
Out of here.
That was a close election.
You were really sweating it out over there, weren't you?
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Well, just a few brief marks. I certainly appreciate your vote of confidence. This is my third whack at this over the past 12 years. 1 year without a town manager, specifically, and then we got Chris. So since then, it's been a lot easier sailing for all of us when we sat in this chair. And appreciate your support, continued support, and the support of my colleagues. I mean, I read about other select boards in the county, and I'm proud to say that I think that we have one of the best select boards, certainly, of any town. We don't always agree, but we disagree respectfully, and I think that's the important thing. Ed and I have been friends since, I don't know how long, but and we're still speaking to each other.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time, and it will continue. So again, thank you, and Mary Beth, I'll echo what Ed said and Neil second in there, that you've done an outstanding job over the past year. You know, I want you to continue with your interests and bring them to us, please, and we can move forward. And over the course of the next couple of weeks, certainly I'll be espousing some goals that I have in mind. Clearly, to work towards a public safety building and get our sewer plant upgraded, and spend some money on some of these dilapidated buildings that we have in town, and trying constantly to keep that tax rate affordable for the people who live here. I think that's extremely important as well. So thank you, and I look forward for the next year. Thanks. So I guess the next thing is the acceptance of the minutes of May 20th.
I move to approve the minutes from May 20th meeting for the Lennox Select Board.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And now we're...
Friday meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm abstaining.
You're abstaining. Okay, okay, Neil. Now we have citizens open forum. Are any of you folks here to speak about a general topic? Yes? No? We're good. Okay. Then I'll ask my clerk if she would be kind enough to read the consent agenda.
Absolutely. So we have a donations acceptance tonight from Fire Chief O'Brien, seeking our approval to accept a donation to the fire department. We have a change of manager for Boston Symphony Orchestra Incorporated, doing business as Saranac, changing the manager to John Stanton. We have 3 one-day all alcohol license requests. Michael Kowalski of Berkshire Mountain Distillers is seeking these for Friday, June 24th, Friday, July 22nd, and Friday, August 26th from 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. as part of the Lennox Farmers Market. He is requesting to pour samples and sell cocktails.
Hold.
Okay, there's a hold on that. A one-day wine and malt license request from Jeff Borden from the Rookwood Inn, which is now called the Constance, is seeking a one-day license for Saturday, June 4th from 3 to 6 p.m. for an open house grand opening launch of the new inn. A certified bartender will be present. Another one-day wine and malt license request from Elizabeth O'Brien for a celebration on Sunday, July 10th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Ventford Hall. Certified bartenders will be present.
Okay, so why don't we just go ahead and vote on the ones without the hold, and then we'll come back to the one with the hold.
Super. So let's move to approve the consent agenda without the hold item.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's move on to the hold. We have some correspondence from our attorney concerning that hold, and it doesn't look good. So, for a number of reasons, and if did you want to read the appropriate paragraph?
Sure,
please?
absolutely.
I think it's just the last one, actually.
Okay, I just have to
One last
locate
one.
it. All right.
Or I got it.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to find it. I don't think I have
Basically,
it in
what
my
it boils
packet.
down to is two things. So number one, we have a premises that already has an alcoholic license on it. And they say that one of the issues was that we can't grant a one-day license to something that already is licensed. Even though we're different vendors, different people, the property is licensed. And even if we could separate out that particular section, there's another issue too, where at a farmer's market, I believe it said that we cannot issue, we could do wine and spirits, or wine
and beer.
and malt, but we can't do spirits. So, I mean, we're certainly welcome to share our correspondence from our lawyer with us, and if you have a different lawyer's opinion, we'd be glad to forward that to our lawyer. But that being said, I don't think we have any choice but to say, we wish you well, but unfortunately we can't help you. Is that okay? Did you need more of an explanation? Could you step up to the mic?
I'm Michael Kowalski from Berkshire Mountain Distillers.
Yeah.
I am of the understanding that if it were a one-day liquor license for the premise, it wouldn't be a part of that farmer's market stipulation. The other part of that is that you have issue with the liquor license that is actually for what is campfire currently.
Right.
We have been in correspondence with them, and they said they were all right with us doing it. Whether we had to ask them to abdicate their license for that one day to allow it, I think that's the way that would make that work. But again, I leave it to the board to kind of decide, since it is.
Okay, I'm trying to find,
Yeah, so they would be in the separate area on the grass. So the farmer's market and all the other vendors are down the parking lot,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
They would be on the grass area, and right. So we've already spoken with Jane and Ryan from Campfire, and they spoke to their attorney, and they cleared it from their side with Lori forgetting her name right now.
Robbins.
Robbins, thank you. So I can talk to her further, but she said, from liability standpoint, it's not an issue if they were to give up their license for the 3 days, because it's not functioning right now, and it's not going to be functioning until September at the very least.
I think I found a paragraph
Great.
that addresses that. It says, moreover, the only alcohol that can be sold at a farmer's market is wine produced by the holder of a farm winery license. Taking these facts and regulations into consideration, is my opinion, the distillery is not authorized to obtain the special licenses or conduct what they are proposing on the grounds of the farmer's market. If there are any further questions, please let me know. So
I think subsequent
Thanks.
to receiving, so Mary Ellen from our office got this I
From
think,
Brian
today
Riley, yeah,
from
Brian
from
Riley
from our
KPL.
council. So obviously this is not something that has occurred before.
Yeah.
If you go along with a recommendation that I have later in this meeting, you're bound to meet in a week's time anyway. So perhaps, we take what may not work to the letter of what we traditionally approve around 1 days, and find a way to make it work.
I'm all for that.
If folks can put their heads together with a week's time frame as opposed to several hours time frame like we have.
Okay.
Because sorry, go ahead.
I think what I'm reading between the lines here from the comments I've heard so far is, I don't think we're of a mindset to try to squash something here as much as trying to wade through what I see as multiple angles to the same thing and understand this this memo that we got today from KP Law. There's the issue of, it looks like beer and wine, fine, then only nonprofits for outdoor activities, for spirits, which clearly Berkshire Mountain's not a nonprofit. But then,
So what if the chamber were to apply for it as the
Well,
nonprofit?
I think this is the type of thing that
we don't, yeah, we're not gonna be able to.
we do well to figure out over the course of a week as opposed to.
So I think what we're
Just let me know.
collectively saying, and I know that you time is of the essence, but I think what we're collectively saying is there's, even within the correspondence from Brian, it seems like there's, on the one hand, and then on the other hand, type advice, right? I understand the concept of you can't have you can't have two full licenses used for the same location, so they're not forfeiting their license so that you can use your license. But then there's the issue of it not being done at a farmer's market except by the owner of a farmery winery license. And again, it's, I guess conceptually to me, aren't we going for the benefit of, it's the Lennox farmer's market, so here's a local vendor. So you're benefiting from being
And
advertised as a component of the farmer's market, but technically you're not one of the categories that's allowed to sell at a farmer's market. So that's where I'm seeing the conflict.
We weren't sure where that gray area was, because our understanding was we couldn't do bottle sales, but the cocktail was the gray area, so we were fine not selling bottles, because again, for us, we're just here to support the farmer's market, really, at the end of the day. And for us, it was just to make sure that, we were all covered.
So
And
we're all sitting here, none of us are lawyers.
Sure.
Okay. So
Sure.
We've got until the 24th for your first step, and we have a meeting, at least one meeting between now and then.
I think some of the other discussions that we're going to have tonight are going to necessitate a meeting. There'll definitely be a meeting on the 15th or sooner. I'm going to probably stick my neck out and say next week sometime.
Okay.
Under the circumstances.
So why don't we get the lawyers talking to each other and see if there's a way around? I mean, in my own mind, I could think of some ways that possibly could work.
Likewise.
But I don't know what the legality is, and we certainly don't want to take the liability on of doing
course.
something that a lawyer recommended us not to do. So as Neil correctly pointed out, I mean, we're all trying to work towards the same goal. And so why don't we do that? Why don't we have, is it Lori's, your lawyer, Lori Robbins?
No,
or-
that's for Campfire, that's for Ryan's.
Okay.
But I'll talk, I can reach out to Lori as, or, you know.
Yeah, and I'll reach out to ours as well and
Okay.
see what.
See if we can get them
Work
talking in
between
the
the
next few
five.
days and come up with some creative solution to this issue.
Okay.
Okay? Does that make
Great.
sense,
Good.
Jen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks so
All right,
much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna, now do we need a motion to put that on hold for the next meeting, or do we just leave it alone?
No, we'll just, it'll just die on the table tonight. And
Okay.
Bring it up later.
Two questions. How do we, or have we just asked them to initiate conversations with Brian at KP Law?
Yeah.
I'll take care of that.
So I just want to make sure that's followed up on, because
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be unresponsive. And then the only other thing, and I'm sorry if this is the inappropriate time to bring it up, but one of the reasons I also held that was, I believe the hours are 10:30 to 4:30, or something like that.
Yeah.
11 to
No,
3. I
11 to
think.
3.
Yeah.
Oh. I
For the
think
farmer's market?
I thought so.
one of them
Said
started at
10:30 to
10:30.
4.
Yeah, 10:30 to 4.
10:30 to 4, yes, you're right. But 10:30 is a little on the early side.
So, concern A is, I thought that sounded early for
Yeah.
selling spirits.
Right.
And then concern B, we had discussions as a board about a cumulative amount of time for selling alcohol. That'll be 5.5 hours. And didn't we kind of say like 5 or 6 hours is sort of our max? We didn't want parties going. This is when we're talking about when licenses were being applied for until 2 a.m. and we felt uncomfortable with that.
I'm not sure that wasn't more about noise than it was about alcohol.
Well, it actually was about alcohol.
It was about alcohol.
Yeah, in the extended period of time. But that was a contained audience too. It was the weddings we were talking about, where it's the same
Farmer's
people
market,
there
you're gonna
for
get
the-
different people.
It's gonna be flowing. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, I don't know who's gonna sit around all Friday afternoon. But you never know.
They got a good thing going at farmer's market, you never know.
Okay,
But
so
yeah.
I'll check in with Chris to see what the status is as we move, any one of us can, but certainly as we move along on this.
Yeah, I mean,
See
we
what
might
we got.
want to say, you know, maybe you start at noon with that particular vendor. I mean, 10:30 does sound a little early to me, but what do I know?
Well, I mean, I'm sure that's in there because that's the operation of the time of the
Yeah.
market.
I think that's when.
And I think it's a draw to the market,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
It's a
Right.
pretty well-known local establishment if they're at the farmer's market.
And I have no
it
problem
benefits
if we
the farmer's market.
put it afternoon time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chris, in the applications, I know we've talked about this before, but maybe applicants can address if the cumulative time of serving alcohol is going to be in that 5 and 6 hour range, like what are their,
So greater specificity of actual service as opposed to beginning and end times of an event or
well, we
setup
get into
and
beginning and
breakdown.
end time,
Yeah.
but I think if that turns out to be 6 hours, I'd like to hear a little bit more dialogue about how they're going to keep things under control.
Yeah, understood. That'd be a helpful addition, I think. Okay.
Okay, if there's not any more discussion, you good?
Sorry.
If there's no more discussion on that issue, let's move into general business. And I'm going to ask Mary Beth, because she's a little more familiar with this, to go ahead and talk about the Lenox Library.
Okay, so the Lenox Library is going to be holding their annual book sale in the Town Hall Auditorium this year on Labor Day weekend, which is Saturday and Sunday, September 3rd and 4th.
Let's not rush that.
They are seeking permission for 11 yard signs to be up between August 19th and September 5th. They're also seeking permission to hang a large banner on the library building for 6 weeks, and another banner on Town Hall during the Labor Day weekend for this particular book sale. Finally, they're also requesting permission for entertainment on both Saturday for an hour and Sunday for 2.5 hours in front of Town Hall or near the magnolia tree out front here, right? So they'd like to use some electricity from the building to plug in an amplifier. And we have Maria Lynch, who is our new development director, to address this. Maria, you can feel free to step up to the mic. And
All right. I'm Maria Lynch, Development Director of the Lennox Library Association. And to reiterate what Mary Beth just went through, we are having our book sale September 3rd and 4th here in Town Hall. We will be using Town Hall for 5 days because we have setup days and a breakdown day. It is our biggest fundraiser this year, so it's a very important event for us. And so because it's our only event, we are trying to build it more than just the book sale. We're trying to create a little bit more community feel and a little bit more excitement around the event, although the book sale itself does draw quite a few people. So we will be promoting this through our website and through social media, but we ask and request yard signs the weekend of, so we would like to put them up probably the Thursday or Friday before, and then we will take them down Sunday night or Monday. I think it's at 11, and we were thinking somewhere between 10 and 20. We don't know for sure. They'll be very simple, straightforward signs. I brought you a sample of what I think they're going to look like, and double-sided. So that's the yard sign. The big building sign we have not designed yet, but it'll be something extremely similar. And we would like to be able to advertise the book sale on the library, front of the library, or somewhere along the fence, somewhere on the library property to generate some knowledge, interest, excitement prior to just the weekend. In addition, because everything's visual and there's a lot of people in town and there's a lot of chamber events happening throughout the summer. So if they know that that's also happening, because we are the only event happening Labor Day, that would be very helpful. And then, of course, the weekend of the event, we would like to have some kind of signage out here in front. Again, probably just yard signs, or maybe we move that sign. I'm not sure, but another banner is perhaps requested. Entertainment. It turns out we will be we have asked a choir, or I should say a chorus. They do a cappella group to sing on Saturday. They do not need an amp. And then on Sunday, there's a woman who will bring her own little music box. She does not need to borrow our music. She has her own, and it's a single woman, and she's done a lot of entertaining. Jane Doe, if you happen to know who she is, she's done entertainment at the library before, so she is popular and well received. And also, I talked to her about the sound, and she said, "No, I'm not. You're not going to hear me a block or 2 blocks away." She'll just draw people in and draw attention. So we are hoping to do this over by underneath, because of the sun, underneath the magnolia tree, just to draw people towards this building. And then lastly, I don't know if we need permission. I am working with permits, and I will be sending it into the state. We will be holding a raffle, and we will be raffling off 4 baskets. Each basket has several items in them, and we're hoping to pre-sell some of them and some of the tickets, as well as sell them during the occasion.
So from a regulatory perspective, there really isn't much for the board to act on, but as it relates to permission for the use of town property, there is. So that's really what's before you. You're not being asked to sign off on a license of any particular type, but it is town property that we're talking about. So and it's also nice to give a little bit of publicity to the event among the dozens of people who are undoubtedly watching. So
I think it sounds like a good idea.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about this later tonight in a different committee, but one thing to keep in mind as you're planning your banners, I'm not sure we know what the state of repair and construction underway will be in September at the library. So, or in the weeks prior to September. So, we should make sure that you're in touch with those that have a better handle of the schedule. I wouldn't want you to get a banner for, the front of the library and suddenly find out that they need to fence off the sidewalk in front of the library and people won't be able to get up there to see it. Maybe a banner on the fence would be better, or things like that, depending on what's happening
I can work
with the repair.
Our library director on that.
Yeah.
She would have a better idea.
We should know in plenty of time, I think, what the timetable
Yeah.
is. Unofficial timetable is going to be with that.
Right.
Probably won't be an issue, but
But we
you never know. It's good to think about that.
Reserve the space for them so that somebody else can't come around for Labor Day and try to put banners up.
Yeah, they've already got the space secured for the building,
Yeah, okay.
the interior of the town hall. So
Okay.
that's good.
Well, thanks for the information. If we need to make a motion to use.
I would recommend just to have something on record saying that, because you've got events going on the grounds and two town buildings. So.
Okay, so I move to approve the request for the Lennox Library Association for signage and entertainment on town property for their annual book sale on September 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria.
Okay, so next item, I think I'm just gonna, while I have it on my phone here, I'll turn it over to Chris to talk to us about the town meeting.
So, thank you, Mr. Chair. So in the lead up to the annual town meeting, we were receiving a lot of supplemental revenue information, most notably around lodging tax, and it's become apparent to us, too late for the annual town meeting warrant, but in advance of summer, that there's an opportunity to add to the projects on our timetable for summer work or fall work in the case of some of the DPW's proposals. So in addition to that, there's a need for a supplemental appropriation in the estimation, I think, of myself and perhaps the Permanent Building Committee on the Library Dome project. While the schools are closed for the summer, there's a desire to get some additional work done there as well. However, the order of magnitude that we're talking about isn't the type of thing that you just shoehorn into an appropriation, because there's not a cash problem, there's an appropriation problem, right? So only town meeting can appropriate funds, and we've, I think, developed a fiscal plan for the expenditure of funds that won't add any further to the tax burden, but will take full advantage of our favorable cash position. So what staff is proposing to the board and to the finance committee, school committee, permanent building committee is calling for a special town meeting. We think the date of June 23rd is an appropriate time, and we've nailed down 5 proposed appropriations and 1 bylaw change that we think would be appropriate to bring before the special town meeting. Again, appropriating large dollars, but with the approach that we're proposing to take, would not have an additional tax impact. So I've drafted, not in the form of a warrant. Of course, you wouldn't be approving that tonight. This is for discussion, but taking a crack at a draft of several articles that might appear on a warrant. And I'll just read from the top. The first, we have residual funds from the Henry Avenue Pump Station project still, that Superintendent Gopp and I have discussed deploying to resolve a long-standing issue with wastewater on Church Street this fall. It's not the type of thing that we would propose to get done in the summer, but something we could do in the fall time frame, but before a November town meeting, which is when the next semi-annual opportunity would be to get an appropriation. We'd rather get that appropriation now and get going with several months lead time.
How is that likely to get done in the fall?
Yeah,
it is.
The schools have come to us. I've worked with Superintendent Goslin and Melissa Falkowski, the business manager. They've identified 4 areas of projects that they could either use additional support for or move forward in their capital plan. And summer seems like an opportune time to do that. And since they're cash appropriations, if we were to approve the appropriations the day after school closes, they can go ahead and get that work done before school doors reopen for the next school year. And then
What are those 4 items, Chris?
So there's security infrastructure at Lenox Memorial Middle High School, playground improvements at Morris, carpeting and tile at Morris, and some plumbing evaluation and repair at the high school. So the source there would be from free cash. The library supplemental capital, this has come up at the permanent building committee, as well as I think briefly with the selectmen. We haven't begun work there. We have an appropriation for work, and we have an engineering firm and architectural experts working on that project. But before we go and bid for construction, it has become apparent that there's other work that would be prudent to make part of a general contract there. So we're seeking a supplemental appropriation of $800,000, working off of an estimate for something somewhat less than that, to fund replacement of fire suppression systems, HVAC, roof work, chimney repair, items of that nature that have been identified as being related to what was a core project related strictly to dome and roof stabilization and rehabilitation and repair. So,
can I ask a question? Yeah. You guys. And a lot of it's historical. Is there any chance that the CPC could assist us on some of this money, or
Well, we've gotten money from
Mass Historical Society.
Mass Historical Society.
Yep.
We got money
Okay.
for that.
I don't know that
we
they've gone
didn't-
to CPC.
I don't know about CPC.
$100,000.
Oh yeah, it was $100,000 from
Okay.
CPC. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. They did apply for it this year.
Okay. Just
Yeah,
curious.
so there's 300,000 waiting in the wings, and there's the potential to apply for more from Mass Cultural Facilities Fund.
Okay.
So,
But whereas the PBC is looking to go out to bid at some point soon, seems appropriate to incorporate this work into that bid solicitation. In order to do that in good faith, we'll need an appropriation that authorizes us to spend more. Now, the way we're not proposing to pay this down through free cash. This would be last money in, first money out.
Gotcha.
And to the extent that we need to take advantage of the borrowing authorization, we do that through the issuance of notes, and then seek an appropriation to pay those notes down with cash as the final tally for the project becomes known. Okay. So again, not looking to add this to the tax rate. Looking to
No, I understand that. Thanks.
Yeah. And then supplemental paving capital. We're looking to do additional street paving again in the fall.
We've done this before.
Yeah, and it seems like with our favorable cash position, there might be an opportunity to do that. Get some more streets done. Superintendent Gap and I have talked about the lower end of Golden Hill, Elm Street, School Street, streets in the Lennox-Dale area, outside of what's already happening around the wastewater and water line project, and then up in the village area, St. Anne's, Fairview, Tucker, if we can fit it in financially. And then finally, there's a proposal from myself, the police chief and building commissioner, for pretty modest change in or clarification in one of our bylaws around junk that's become problematic. But it's problematic for us. Doesn't have to be problematic if we make the bylaw change. So.
Okay, well, thank you.
So that's it. I do want to point out that Christine Cass, the chair of the finance committee, is here tonight. She wanted to hear. I wanted her to hear at least the report on the proposed financial articles at the same time you heard it. And if to the extent that there's dialogue that's going to take place, it seemed to be prudent to have her present and in person at the time.
Well, please feel free to join in. If you want to step up and ask questions, you're certainly welcome to.
Thank you. I don't necessarily have any questions right now. I just wanted to make sure I have all the information so that I can convey it to the rest of the Finance Committee.
Sure.
So we can schedule a time for us to meet before the 23rd. Time is of the essence, so I wanted to make sure I had all the information.
I'm sure our town manager will be glad to attend, answer any questions you might have.
There's no doubt about it. This is an admittedly tight time frame. I mean, staff, we feel strongly that these all make sense.
Yeah.
There's a tight time frame for a special town meeting if we were to get it in before the close of the fiscal year. I kind of buried the lead here. The urgency of having a special town meeting before July 1st is our free cash authorization from the state expires on July 1st. And while we have sufficient cash reserves, we lose our ability to appropriate those until recertification takes place, usually by the end of the summer, which doesn't help us when we want to get work done during the summer. So and to add further complication to it, a special town meeting requires a 2-week posting notice, which would place the deadline next Thursday. So.
Okay, well, let's get it posted then. I mean, I've got to say that I'm not always in favor of having town meetings. I know, Ed, you voiced that with me before. Dragging the people out and then having them come to vote. Oh, it's not going to take a lot of people. And then we're also planning another one in the fall, so hopefully, so that we can get going on our public safety building. So. I wish there was another way of doing it, but unfortunately there's not, so we'll have to have a town meeting.
I was going to be on vacation that week, so I certainly wish there was another way to do it, but there isn't. So.
All right, well, first of all, thanks for all your hard work and guidance in this, because they're important projects that need to get done. And it's certainly to the advantage of the taxpayers. It's going to increase the rate at all. And it's going to get the work done with cash that we already have. We don't have to generate it. So, yeah, it's the right thing to do. So, do you folks have anything you want to add to that?
It's business we have to take care of. Yeah, it's annoying. People have to come out and do it, but it's the way it has to go. It's really not controversial. It's just boring business we have to take care of. Got to keep the town going.
Throw one more thing out there as a potential for this town meeting, and that would be Lilac Park. Maybe regrading Lilac Park. There is there are holes and pits and things that are in Lilac Park, and granted this would take, a season, there would have to be some sort of a seasonal approach, but if perhaps it could be started, or we could allocate the funds so it could be started after Apple Squeeze and all of that takes place, and maybe doing the grading again. Neil and I'm sure Ed are much more aware of the growing seasons and what's required for grading and grass, but that park is pretty important to people with the music that we have there in the summertime, and it's generally in pretty good shape, but there are some issues with potholes, and it might be nice to correct those and just make our park a little nicer.
I certainly agree, but I'm not sure we'd have to add that to the thing. I think we can probably just do that, can't we, Chris? I mean, we can include that in our regular maintenance.
Depends on how much we want to do.
Well, we'll steal from the salt budget.
First off, I agree. I've probably that's a project that's probably overdue in coming before you, and I'm grateful to Mary Beth for bringing it up. But let me, since it's been brought up, I think maybe I will just consult with Billy over the next week or so and see what we can come up with.
Can I see everybody, guys?
What's that? Absolutely. Yeah. The more help, the more hands, the better. But I think there's definitely, that's something that has.
I think you can manage a lot.
Yeah.
And help it a lot without rising to an appropriation that needs a town meeting vote.
So, yeah, I'm delighted to start tackling that. It's a long time coming, so thanks for
Figured I'd
bringing it up,
Throw
yeah.
it out there.
Yep.
For discussion.
Absolutely.
So, oh, go ahead.
I was just, you need this by Thursday to post, right? Conceptually, do you need us to agree on the numbers tonight? Or conceptually, can we be like, yes, these look like the appropriate articles, but subject to the meeting that follows this one, we might have small changes to the dollar values? Or do you feel this is more than adequate for your side of it, which is to finance what you know is
This
gonna
is
happen?
more. This is absolutely adequate for my side of it. I'd love to hear feedback on the draft, and I'd love to get a final draft to you next Wednesday for approval, hopefully. Otherwise, we'll have to push town meeting out a week. Yeah.
You haven't sent the draft out to us, have you? Or
I did.
we got it today.
I sent it out today or yesterday. Yesterday or
You
today.
sit around all day and email, you see
Yeah,
that.
right. But yeah, to your point.
And we're going to have to meet with the finance committee at some point to get their
Yeah.
input. So are we shooting for, say, Tuesday, Wednesday? I mean, Monday, Tuesday next week for that meeting?
Typically, we try to do finance committee on Thursday, so
Okay.
next Thursday would be what I would shoot for,
Okay.
if that works with everyone else's schedule, but if there needs to be a different time, we can try for that as well.
I mean, the earlier the better. I mean, ideally, it would be good to have the finance committee's recommendation in the warrant. And if the warrant were to be posted Thursday,
So.
that's.
Tuesday?
I mean, Tuesday would be good. And then you will have on, if we were to meet here Wednesday, you would have the feedback from the finance committee before you
That's true, right.
Yeah.
before you vote
Yeah, let's
the
do
warrant.
that.
I realize this is.
We don't have a ton on Wednesday. What if the Wednesday meeting, we broke off into half an hour of a joint meeting with the finance committee and then a half an hour to conclude our business?
Sure.
That would be fine with me, I'll have to see when everyone is free.
Let's try to
So-
put an agenda together. Okay. That's not a bad idea.
So we're looking for Wednesday at 6 o'clock?
Sounds good.
Great.
Okay, so we've got to roll into executive session. First of all, does anybody have anything in general that they want to bring up? All right. We've got to roll into executive session, and we're not coming back. And I'll ask the clerk in a moment to make that motion, but I just want to check before I announce the next calendar meeting. Are we all good at 6 o'clock? You good at 6?
Yep.
Are you good with 6?
Well, you know that I'm always going to be coming in hot, so to speak. At 6, but yes.
Okay.
So in this case, it wouldn't be the 15th, though. What we just contemplated was a week hence, which would be
The 8th.
the 8th.
Yep.
The 8th.
But ordinarily, it would have been the 15th, yeah.
Right, so let's keep it at 6 and take a look at it a little down the road, if that'll help.
Yeah.
Even a half hour, if that'll help, you know? Okay, Mary Beth.
Okay, great. I move that the board convene an executive session to discuss strategy with respect to contract negotiations with union personnel, specifically the patrolmen, firefighters, and teamsters. Discussing such strategy in public session may have a detrimental impact on the town's negotiating position.
Second that.
Okay,
roll call
yep,
vote.
we need a roll call vote. Warren Archie,
Warren Archie, aye.
Mary Beth Mitz, aye.
George, aye. Ed Lang, aye.
Neil Maxwell, aye.
Excellent.
And did we mention that we're not returning?
And we are not returning to public session.
Thank you, Christine.